So today I'm headed over to my good friend Rick's house, his shop. We're going to take a look at his Volkswagen powered biplane that he is designing and building. It's a real beauty, so come on along, fellas. Let's go take a look. Well, we're out here with my buddy Rick. We're visiting him in his workshop, and he is building a ultralight biplane, or a semi-ultralight biplane. Tell me a little bit about your design, Rick.
Well, it started out as an ultra peak, and that's as far as it went. And this fuselage is typical wood worn truss fuselage, which based on ultra peak basic dimensions is 3 inches deeper in the tail than the ultra peak, 2 inches deeper in the nose, 1.5 inches deeper in the belly, and about 1 inch wider. And it's going to be a biplane. It started out to be, it was going to be a monoplane, high wing, but biplanes are my forte, I guess.
Yeah. What are you going to power it with?
I'd be a VW.
Volkswagen?
Yeah, VW, probably about 60 horse, 65 horse is what I'm shooting for.
Yeah.
And going to be configured to look somewhat like an SE5 when it's all done.
Tell me about the wood that you've got in this airplane.
Well, it's all pine, except for the birch plywood. And it's all white pine from the hardware store, Lowe's to be exact, plug for Lowe's. You can buy select wood if you know what you're looking for. And, this is all 3/4 inch.
Okay, explain to the viewers that white pine is an acceptable aircraft quality wood.
It's been called acceptable. It's up to, what do they say, 94% of spruce and strength. And which is, you know, for the price, an 8-foot pine board will cost you $7. A 3x3, 3/4 by 3/4 spruce cap strip, 12 feet long, will cost you $5 a foot.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere you want to add it, the stuff is a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's good pine. And you know how to read the grain. You got to watch out for things like knot holes and pitch pockets. You don't want any of that. You know, if you can get it straight grain, white pine, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Got to go through a lot of lumber to find the right.
Yeah, it takes several trips and several hours.
Mm-hmm.
And let's select this piece right here. This is not one of the best, but what you want is 6 of these per inch. So if that was 1 inch wide, we'd have 6. And what you do is, depending on how you cut this, gives you what you want to work with.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut it this way at 3/4, then it works as a longeron or a cap or a spar or whatever you want to use. I went with more cuts. These are used for corner blocks and stuff like that. But the finer grain is used for structure.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you trying to go ultralight, or
No, it's not going to be ultralight. There's no way. Time I get done, it's probably going to have an empty weight of at least 400 pounds. So it's going to be an experimental category, light sport. But, that's what I'm shooting for. Something slow and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Have a 42-inch wing cord. Probably 18 to 19 foot span, I haven't decided yet. And just straightforward basic airplane, nothing fancy.
What airfoil are you going to use?
Well, thinking about Clark Y, but looking at some others. flat bottom Clark-Y is probably the most prominent airfoil ever used on any airplane. I mean, they use them in let me think. Not the Mosquito, with the Hurricane has a Clark-Y. And several other fighter planes with Clark-Y airfoil.
Well, it's a good forgiving little airfoil, and it's, you know, you get a lot of bang for your buck with the Clark-Y.
Well, you get a good slow wing that, you know, don't surprise you.
Yeah.
And you get a biplane, notoriously for slowing down quick. You want a wing that'll keep you up there, and if it does slow down, you can control it.
Now your wings are going to be wire braced with what, 7x19 cable?
Yeah, wire braced. And that's part of the design factor, is figuring out how I'm going to do all that. Because it changed, the gear configuration changed completely, the wing configuration, the location has changed completely. And it's all going to work out, it just takes a little time to think about it.
Well, it's looking very, very nice. Single place, of course, well, that's obvious. Now, where are you going to get your Volkswagen engine?
I'm under the bench.
Oh, you've already got it?
Yep, got two of them down there.
Okay.
Down there. They're all tore down, but there's two complete Volkswagen engines here. I'll build one out of the two. Got to get them out and get them cleaned up. Line board, crankshaft, and bearings matched. But that's all part of the process. I mean, we've already got the basic engine to work with, so.
Now, haven't you got the landing gear legs around here somewhere? Oh, yeah.
Typical 1918 vintage, nothing special.
You gonna have a spreader bar?
Yeah, it'll be a solid axle. I'm going to slide this over here and just let it attach at this point here. Probably won't stay there today, but anyway. You get the idea. Metal brackets to hold them on, spreader bar on it. Probably go with a balloon type tire.
No bungee shocks or anything like that?
Just rubber. The tire itself.
Okay.
Which is well proven. That's what this has been beefed up here for your attach point. But nothing fancy by any means.
Are you going to bolt the engine directly to the firewall here?
At this point, I don't know. It all depends on the CG, how things work out. I would like to see it off the firewall, but a fairly, you know, appeasing thrust line instead of down the middle of the airplane.
Yeah. Yeah, I always, you know, wanted to get my thrust, even on that first airplane I built, you know, the Pete and Paul, the thrust line, they've got it down around here somewhere. And, you know, I wanted to get my thrust line a little bit further up, in line with the top longeron. And go ahead.
It just looks better.
Oh, yeah.
And if you stick it in this dead center in the middle, then you got a round engine configuration, which looks really great on a lot of airplanes. On a biplane, it looks really nice.
Yeah.
But not always as practical, you know. A lot of these guys are building these war replicas and that aluminum tube stuff. Who builds that?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think. Anyway, they use VWs primarily, and they mount them dead center of the cowling, you know.
And it just doesn't look quite right.
Make it look like a radial engine.
Are you going to have plywood covering down here? How far back?
Be back to here.
Okay.
And that's yet to come, because I got a lot of work to do inside. I don't want to close it up where I can't work on it.
This is your instrument panel. What are you going to have in it?
Just the basics. airspeed, altimeter, probably tachometer, which is probably electronic. Oil pressure, oil temp, and that's when you get it. Compass would sit in there someplace.
Mm-hmm. How much fuel are you going to have on board?
I don't know yet. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 6 gallons is about all, because I'm going to go with a center section wing tank probably.
Yeah.
I figure if I can get 5 gallons up there, that'll be doing pretty good. And with a VW, you get 2.5 gallons an hour. You know, playing around the pattern, 2.5, 3 hours is plenty.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll be ready to get down and rest your kabooski before then.
Get your knees unlocked. You know?
Mm-hmm. Now your wing spars, how are you going to build them?
That's going to be built up. Well, I haven't decided yet. I'm going to try to go with a built-up spar, cap strip top and bottom, webbing, in a boxcar spar configuration. I like that a lot better than I do the I-beam or whatever else I come up with.
Mm-hmm. C-beam.
Yeah, C-beam, I-beam. It just tends itself to be a whole lot better in compressibility.
Yeah.
But still working on the principle of using. I try to go with 3/4, probably by 7/8 top cap and bottom maybe, and I'd like to go with 16th-inch ply, with 3-ply birch or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get it repainted. Something to hang up.
Oh, there's a little steerman.
Little steerman, yeah. I got the whole line.
Is that plastic?
Yeah. Yeah, I painted it, but I got to get it. When I put it together, I first looked at it, I had one gear leg up here and one gear leg down here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not a good.
Yeah.
This is the same scale, but that is a whole much better airplane, model-wise. I mean, they put so much detail.
Mm-hmm.
Landing gear is already built. You can get a truss frame.
Oh, cool.
You know, all kinds of good stuff. And that'll be U.S. Navy stock.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be
Oh, yeah.
cowl and all that good stuff on it. But, yeah, I like biplanes.
What do we got going here? Adventure aircraft?
Yeah, it's just looking at some videos on these things. This good friend of mine told another friend that there was a pretty good motor.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. This guy, Brian Carpenter, he's taken the primary glider and advanced it a little bit. But that airplane he's flying there that he's putting so much hope into is nothing but a primary glider that he's putting an engine on.
Made out of steel too.
Yeah, he's using a lot of ultralight, modern ultralight construction technique too.
Yeah, it's slow.
It's a pretty cool little airplane.
It's well air conditioned, that's for sure.
Yeah. Pretty neat. And I see you're a gun collector.
Yeah, I've got a few. Don't let the fans see all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you know how we are down here in Texas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he started out, he was going to call it the EMP, I think, or EMG, electromotive glider or something like that. And he was going to use a electric sustainer motor. I don't think he was having too much success with that. And then I guess he heard about that Pelini engine and ordered one. They're only $6,000 or more.
That's all, man.
Believe it or not. He ordered one and stuck it on there. yanks that airplane around pretty good, or pushes it around. Yeah, what are you watching there? Oh, is that a Pelini ad?
I have no idea.
Yeah, tell me, what were you saying?
Oh, about the engine. I say, low budget builders like myself, we can't afford to shell out $6,000–7,000 for an engine. You got to build something. You just can't go out and buy that stuff.
Yeah.
But it takes a little bit here, a little bit there. Each payday comes along.
Yeah, it seems kind of ridiculous. A one-cylinder, two-cycle engine.
Yeah, for $6,000.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think it's nearly $7,000.
That's a little steep.
That's
you can buy a really nice.
I think those guys at B-Light have started using that Pelini engine too. But I agree with you, $7,000 for a little, that's just ridiculous. You're defeating the whole purpose behind an affordable airplane.
Yeah, you put $6–7,000 in an engine to pull a little airplane around that you've got $4,500 tied up in.
Yeah.
Maybe even $5,000. Well, when it's all said and done, it's still only worth $6,000.
Yeah. I tell you what'll surprise you. I came across this Ron Sands 1929 primary glider.
Yeah.
His son sells drawings. Well, Wicks Aircraft sells the construction material kits. By the time you're all said and done buying their material, at their prices before shipping, Rick, it's a little over $8,000 for a primary glider. It's crazy. I understand they've got to make a little bit of a profit, but man, that seems obscene.
That kills a lot of guys that are.
Yeah, I mean, same guy can go get himself set up in a go-kart for $3,000 and be racing next Saturday and have one heck of a good time.
Well, the guy across the street's got one of them powered paragliders, a two-seater.
Yeah.
And he's got almost $13,000 in that thing.
I believe it.
And it's got a two-cylinder water cooled of some kind of and he's got a lot of money in it.
Oh yeah. And for that $13,000, you could go on Barnstormers and buy a Pete and Paul.
Yeah.
Or a Flybaby or something like that.
I can't find what I'm looking for some silly reason.
Well, what are you looking for?
Well, I was looking for that VW engine manufacturer to get a price for one of their engines, which was really quite economical, I thought.
I still believe that a enterprising young man, if he wants to get out and do some scrounging, he can still put together an airplane that he can go fly and have fun in for $5,000. I absolutely believe that. That little ultralight thing, well, it won't be an ultralight, but it'll be near ultralight that I'm working on. I absolutely believe that a guy that knows how to scrounge can build that thing for $5,000.
Yeah, you can do some shopping around, hit your buddies up.
Yeah. Yeah, go to the airport looking for material. I mean, shoot, there are all kinds of ways to get around those high dollar...
Aero V, that's right.
Yeah, the Aero V.
They got some nice looking stuff. There's an 80 horsepower. It's $74.95 for an 80 horse. That's not bad.
No.
I mean, by aircraft standards today, I think that you can actually call an airplane engine.
Yeah.
For less than $10,000, it's actually a pretty good buy.
Yep.
I mean, if you piecemeal it over a period of time, you can build one that'll cost you more, but it won't hurt your pocketbook quite as bad.
Right.
It's all.
Now, who is the principal behind Aero V? What's
Who is the who?
Who's the people that started Aero V?
I'm not sure who they are, to be honest with you. They've been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonic.
Sonic?
Yeah.
I'll tell you another guy, well, he doesn't sell engines, but he sells drawings for his conversion, and that's the guy that designed the, what's the name of that thing? Legal.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got his drawings, and it's kind of crude. I'm not being cruel about it, but it is pretty crude. But I got to looking at his Legal, Rick, and you look at that thing, and then you look at the air bike, the Team Air Bike. Yeah. He got the way he builds the wing from the Team airplanes, the Mini-Max, the air bike.
Yeah.
Now isn't the Mini-Max with Team, or used to be?
Yeah, I can't remember. That guy over east of here.
Yeah.
That designed that thing. What's his name?
Oh, foot, I can't think of it.
Remember.
But you look at the air bike fuselage, and other than this guy, I can't think of his name, I'll think of it in a minute, all he did was widen that fuselage up in front so you could get into it instead of on it. And I guarantee you it is a air bike.
Oh, yeah, I really know two ways about it. That's like, what's his name? Ragwing.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He uses a lot of
Mini-Max?
Mini-Max design.
Yeah, a lot of those designs out there, those ultralights, they came right off the Mini-Max and the Team. That guy that started Team was an engineer, and he was pretty smart cookie. The reason why he shut down his company was lawsuits.
Right.
Yeah, some goofball went out and killed himself in one of those air bikes, and you know what happens after that.
Well, yeah. But that's just like, I've seen them air bikes fly, and down close to the ground, it's like 25, 30 miles an hour, and you just playing, having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cool little airplane.
And that little Ultra Pete, you build one light like he says to build it, and that's a pretty decent little airplane.
Yeah, it is.
It's fairly strong.
Yeah.
I seen one, a guy rolled up in a river and ran out of gas and tried to land in a riverbed, didn't make it, flipped it upside down.
Yeah.
Got up and walked away, and the airplane took it home, fixed it, flew it a couple of weeks later.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's really nothing new under the sun.
Oh, no.
These modern day so-called designers take what has already been designed and tweak it a little bit and come up with their own little airplanes.
They try to corner the market with what they call their design, but they're actually using somebody else's technique or idea.
Exactly. But you can't argue with what works, you know?
No, you can't argue with what works, but, there again, it boils down to, it works, it's fine, it's nice, I'd love to have one, but you can't afford it.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the reason I buy a 22-year-old, or drive a 22-year-old Jeep.
I hear you.
Payments scare me.
Yeah. Well, the first airplane I built, that it was going to be a Pete and Paul, but I couldn't fit in a standard Pete and Paul. So I redesigned. You flew in it. Man, I nickeled and dimed that thing, Rick. I was 23 years old, I think, when I started building it. Had 2 kids, and I was going through a divorce. And the only way I could afford to build that thing was with nickels and dimes.
Paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. And I would save up enough money to buy a stick of tubing, and I'd run out. I wouldn't order it, and have it shipped. There was a guy in Hearst airline captain that sold that stuff out of a barn, and I'd go over there and get a 20-foot stick of tubing, bring it back, and work on the airplane till that was exhausted, and save up another 25 bucks and go.
Well, see, we don't have anybody local to buy from for raw material, and except for that outfit that I was telling you about.
Yeah, what is it? Future Metals or Online Metals?
Online Metals, yeah. They've got some absolutely killer, decent prices. And, I mean, they carry everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. Let's see.
I remember when 3/4 35 thousandths wall 4130 was selling for like 94 cents a running foot.
Oh, yeah.
And back then I thought, my God, I can't believe how expensive that is. But compared to today, you know.
Okay, here's 4130. Look at diameter.
And the problem with today is you'll have more money tied up in shipping than you will in actual product.
That's the killer right there, the shipping. Here's half-inch 035. And that is going price. $7.81 a foot.
Lord have mercy. Are you kidding me?
That's what it says, 1 foot, 12-inch length. That's 1 inch diameter, 035.
Well, I guess the shipping killed that. Who is that?
That's who we're talking about.
The local people?
Online Metals. I think they're over there near Dallas.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they've got the shipping costs wrapped up in that.
Well, if they do, then that helps. But
that's why you're paying $7 and something.
Well,
you know, you can probably go to Aircraft Spruce and get that for, just guessing, $250 a running foot.
okay, here's all the way the other end. Okay. 1 inch 095.
It's a pretty thick wall, 95 thousandths.
Yeah, that's for landing gear credit bar.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me $43 for 72 inches.
Yeah.
You know, and you only need one 72-inch piece.
Yeah, that's true.
But $43 for one piece of tubing.
Well, then here again, you know, you may need to start looking into stuff like 1025 mild steel.
Yeah.
I mean, there were hundreds, thousands of airplanes built out of that.
Well, wasn't the old Stensons built out of that?
Do what?
Stensons, weren't they built out of that? Most of them?
Yeah, J3s, a lot of the early J3s, a lot of the structure, fuselage was built out of 1025 and 4130 in really critical spots. But the earlier airplanes, you know, were completely built out of that stuff. They just used heavier wall thicknesses in critical areas. Sopwith pup up there on the wall.
Do what now?
I was just looking at that Sopwith pup drawing.
Excuse me. Favorite.
Yeah, it's a beautiful airplane.
Well, here it is, 4130, 195, 6-foot piece, $26. So that's
Aircraft Spruce?
Aircraft Spruce, that's half the price.
Yeah. Yep. But then you're going to pay for the shipping, and that's going to be outrageous. Yeah, I bought a 4x8 sheet of 6061 T6, 32 thousandths from Aircraft Spruce a month ago. don't quote me on this, but it was like 68 bucks. Okay?
Sounds reasonable.
Then the shipping, by the time it was all said and done, it was double that.
Oh, yeah.
It cost me double that
Shipping
to get it
costs you
done.
as much as with the product.
Yeah,
Well, that's like that radio right there. Okay, that Galaxy.
yeah.
That's supposedly one of the better radios on the market today for 10, 11 meters.
Mm-hmm.
That's $500 radio. Shipping is 60 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
UPS. It's ridiculous. Unbelievable.
Need to find a cheaper way for shipping, but good Lord, you know, you try to get into the shipping market, and then our wonderful government hits you with every rule and regulation they can concoct.
But you get into that shipping stuff, if you find somebody that does free shipping, they ship when they get ready, and you may get it in a month.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you're willing to sit on it and wait for a month,
yeah.
but you know, you just never know anymore. It's just one day.
Well, tell me about this car twin. Who does that?
Oh, this is Great Lakes.
Great Plains.
Is it Great Plains?
Great Plains.
They what it is it's a VW, and they only use 2 cylinders. They use the whole crankcase. They don't cut it.
Kind of like Mulholland down there with.
Yeah, Mulholland. That's the guy's name I was trying to think of.
I've got video of him, you know, putting together his engines.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'll tell you, and I'm not being mean about the guy. The guy is lovable,
I've watched it too.
He is a shade tree kind of man.
That's like when he put the prop pub on. Just take a rosebud and heat that dude up, hammer it on.
Oh
there.
yeah, it's great, but you know, I mean, it's kind of shocking.
Yeah, it's kind of I hate.
But that's the way they used to do it.
Well, yeah, back in the day, that's all they had to do, you know.
Oh yeah.
Rosebud, heat it up, wiggle it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now what is it?
Spruce, cap stripping,
Yeah.
3/4 by 3/4, and $1.95 a foot.
Good
That's
grief.
just 3/4 by 3/4.
Yeah, that's.
So, you know, that adds up real quick. I was pricing that material to build wing spars, and just the spar material alone was going to cost me over $200.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the caps, not anything else.
You know, we need to source Douglas fir down here. Well, Lowe's and Home Depot used to carry it,
Yeah.
and now they don't, and I don't know why. But we need to find a source for that, or maybe even some spruce, and you know, start getting go selecting wood and buying that up. I'll tell you a good source of wood if you can find it. People with old Champ J3 wings spars, you know, that they're discarding.
Yeah.
You can take those spars and cut them up for cap strips, you know.
Oh, yeah, you can get a lot of material out of that stuff.
Yeah. I've got one that I bought. It's out of a J3. I've got it hanging in my shop, and I'm going to cut it up for spar caps, I think. Just depends.
This outfit is in Fort Worth.
Here's another example of outrageous shipping. Jamie, I called my buddy Jamie in Colorado.
Yeah.
Told him I needed a PA11 aluminum nose bowl. He had a buddy that's rebuilding a PA11 and took the old one off, and he sold it to me. Well, it's dented up. It needs a lot of work. You saw it.
Yeah.
But I bought it for $250. Now, if you buy it at Univair, it's going to cost you about $1,200. But I bought the thing, and he shipped it down here, and it cost me $350 all told. The nose bowl and the shipping together was around $350.
You paid $100 to ship it?
Yep. There's a big bulky box it was in.
Well, these guys don't have any. I don't think they got even close as maple, and that's not close enough.
Mm-hmm. They do have what?
Well, this outfit in Fort Worth, I was looking, they had lumber, and they don't have anything you can use for lumber quality of, to build an airplane with.
You know, Rockler woodworking tools over there in Fort Worth, or maybe it's in Grand Prairie, I'm not sure. It's been so long. But they have all kinds of wood over there, exotic woods. You know, when I was building that bow, or those bows, long bows, I was buying exotic mahogany over there. They've got everything you can think of. But they're proud of their wood, too.
You know, they still use some of that old blood-based glue that they used back in World War I, which was work, but it had a tendency, like anything else, it's, what's the word I want to use?
It's organic?
Organic, yeah. It's going to set up a rock.
It's like that.
Time it decays.
Yeah, it's like hide glue. They use
hide
that.
glue, same thing. That formaldehyde stuff.
Yep.
You know, that works good to keep out the bugs, but doesn't say much for the mildew that can be built up by it, just with a little bit of moisture.
Oh yeah.
And good wood always maintains a certain amount of moisture.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And it's you got to be careful with the glues. I mean, the stuff they got on the market nowadays, pretty good stuff. T88 structurally is probably the best out there, but I've seen T88 do weird things.
I have too. In compression,
it's not
it'll buckle.
Under compression.
Nope, it isn't.
And it will crystallize. I've had some crystallize.
Yeah. You mean just sitting?
Just sitting, yeah.
Yeah, you know how to fix that? Put it in hot water.
Hot water.
Yep. And it's like honey that gets crystallized.
Yeah.
And you heat it, and it'll go right back to being normal.
I'll tell you what I have used it for. I've used it for fiberglass layup.
Yeah.
It makes for good fiberglass layup. You just gob that stuff on it, take a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Smooths right out.
Yep.
Let
You're
it
right.
dry. It takes forever to dry, but it's good stuff.
Well, back in the 70s, the first airplane I built, the big hot glue back then was Weldwood plastic resin glue. You mixed it with water and it was FAA approved. Later on, I think in the 90s, they took their approval away. But even then, I used that on one wing, and that stuff was brittle, Rick. I mean, it was...
Yeah, it gets chalky.
Yeah. I never did like it. I just never did.
And that's like Type Bond 3 now. Type Bond 3 is good stuff. Extremely strong.
Yeah.
It's waterproof. It's not water resistant. It is actually waterproof.
Yeah.
You can build a boat with it.
Sure.
And those guys using it on these shiplap and these lap pole boats, laying it up with that stuff, using that Type Bond 3, and having good results.
Oh yeah.
Now they go over it with a fiberglass and an epoxy, but the structure is intact.
Sure.
And the water won't affect it.
I like Type Bond 3.
Yeah.
And back in the 80s, you know, Bob Rowe, the guy that mentored me, he started using Type Bond, that Type Bond 1, I guess it was, the aliphatic glue. He built many, many wings with that aliphatic glue. And then Type Bond 2 came out, and that was a step better. And I've used that, you know, in ribs. But that Type Bond 3, unless you're building an aerobatic airplane, I love that stuff.
Well, if you got something that's wire braced or strut braced, the stuff's not going to let go.
No.
If you do it even close to it. The only thing, see, I've used Gorilla Glue on certain things. Gorilla Glue does fantastic things. I mean, you can glue two pieces of concrete together with Gorilla Glue. And I got a bird bath out front that got knocked over and broke. I glued it back with Gorilla Glue 2 years ago, and it's still there.
Yeah.
And the only thing with Gorilla Glue is it fills everything, and it gets absorbed into the fibers but it's like a foam when it dries. It's not perfectly solid. It actually will give a little.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that keeps me from wanting to use it on an airplane, you know.
Yeah.
But it's water activated. That's the funny part.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never tried it.
Haven't for certain things, for general woodworking, you can't beat it.
Well, for stuff like we're doing, if we're building ultralights and peating poles and things like that, I'll go with, I'll use Type Bond 3. I wouldn't even be afraid of Type Bond 2, the aliphatic, and T88. Those are my glues.
Primarily what I use. It depends on what I'm doing and what I'm building at the time, what I use. But you know, I don't have a problem with Type Bond 3 going any place really.
No,
because you get good coverage, you get good penetration. And you know, the thing is you got to get that stuff to get into the fibers of the adjoining wood. So when the piece breaks, it's the wood that breaks and not the glue.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about the 3 is it doesn't dry as fast as the 2 or the 1.
Yeah, it's still pretty quick though.
Yeah, but you still have that little bit of extra time for it to soak.
Well, that, and you can still move it and squeeze out. I mean, it's very minimal pressure.
Yeah.
Doesn't take any pressure at all. I use a C-clamp. I pull it up, you squeeze it out, starts, I stop. And just wipe off the excess.
Yeah. Yep.
Talking about electronic ignition.
Yeah, the electronic ignition on these Volkswagen engines.
Yeah, they got one now that you can buy. It's around $400. And it runs off a distributor drive system of the stock engine, and which still requires a battery, but doesn't take much of a battery, a small one. But that's beats having one a lower profile on your engine. That would be the way to go with that one.
Yeah.
Instead of mounting one on the back with all that hardware, because that just adds a lot of weight.
Yeah.
When you're only dealing with 60 horsepower and a fairly small prop, you know, you want to keep the weight down as much as possible, but
yeah,
there's a variety of avenues to go on ignition with the BWs now.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options. Well, I guess I'm going to get out of your hair, Rick.
Alrighty, well, enjoyed it.
Well, next time I come, I want to see that thing up on the gear and the wings mounted.
Well, all it takes is takes money. I had an old flight instructor years ago. One of the questions in his flight exam was, what does it take to keep an airplane in the air? And you went through the whole thing about how an airplane flies and all that. It's not airspeed and money.
That's right.
That's what it takes to keep one up.
That's exactly
all that other
right.
stuff just falls in there.
That's true.
His name was Gene Buell. Arizona. He was quite the pilot guy.
Yeah. Well, have you been looking at that adventure aircraft site? Have you looked at much of his videos?
No, I haven't.
With that EMG3 or whatever he calls it. It's pretty interesting, but you know, like I said, it's just a primary glider that he's put an engine on. And he uses modern ultralight construction techniques. And I think he got tired of the electric motor aspect because the sustainer motor wasn't even sustaining. And now he's running the Pelini two-stroke, and that's doing real good.
Is this supposed to be green energy stuff?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you know how they get.
Yeah, a bunch of crap, man.
Man, some of these people aren't living in the real world, but
No.
you know, that's their world.
Yeah,
If they want to live in it, I guess.
That's like the windmills kill birds and the solar panels kill birds. So
Yeah.
you know, we're getting a real exchange for our money here.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to hit the road, Rick.
All right. Well, we won't talk politics anymore.
Okay. Talk to you next time.
All right, bye.
You got a name for it, Rick?
No, not yet.
Man, that's looking good. It's beautiful. Alright, I'm going to get out of your hair for the third time. See you next time.